I'm super excited to talk about and bring on the next speaker, which is Javier Goyeneche. Javier Goyeneche is someone I met. Both of us were going through a really hard moment. We were both sort of metamorphosizing from companies we had that were in trouble, or at the end when the big 2008, 2009 crises came, and both of us were in a very strange space that we were both excited about the new journey in spite of what was happening. Javier was starting or thinking about it, had already had the idea of ECOALF, and I had started thinking it was having the idea of IOU. At that moment, when we met, both these businesses didn't make a lot of sense because there was not a lot like what we were doing happening, especially in Spain. There was just really not much around. And I remember the first time I was introduced to him by a friend, Belen, and it was like we were, he's been helped, when you are a entrepreneur, you need someone to help you go through this doubts that you have, because when you're heading a project in front of your investors or in front of your staff, you always have to look like you know all the answers. So there's few people with whom you can just go, I don't know the answers. And that was, I think, with Javier, the relationship I developed. Both of us could be honest with each other and go, we don't know what we're doing, we're crazy, and we will see where we go. Through this long years that we've been working, we've, seeing each other develop work, and we've run into each other, of course, in different conferences on sustainability. I feel like I can honestly say I've developed a relationship with this very special man who is not making a brand of clothing. He's gone out there on a mission, and the mission is to clean the oceans. And it's just not about product anymore. He started a foundation, and I'm just going to let Javier come on and tell you the story. I think Javier's online, so we'll see if he's... Ahí estás, Javier.
Good morning, Kavita. Thank you very much for the introduction.
Thank you. Thank you for being here with us. I know you were here at the market with us for a few days, and then you had to go back and be working on what you're doing. But I'm so thankful that you took the time out on a Saturday and join us. And we would love for you to tell the story of ECOALF and all that you're doing and all that you're passionate about.
Well, first of all, congratulations again, because I was really impressed with everything you've done, all the team, and I love the artisans I saw, the work, everything. Hi, how are you doing? And so first of all, congratulations. I imagine the rest of the week has been amazing. Really sad I wasn't able to stay all the week. So now, thanks for the invitation. And I know the slots are very tight, so if you want, I start all the way. Okay, well, before talking about ECOALF, I would like to give a very brief introduction about what I believe is a huge problem right now, which is the waste problem we can imagine, especially because we are 150,000 more people every day in the world. We're going to be 2 billion more people by 2050, probably. So this problem is getting worse and worse. There's over 500,000 million plastic bags which are used every year. The problem with that is that they have a span life of less than 30 minutes, normally from the store to your house. Over 650,000 tons of discarded fishing nets in the bottom of the oceans. People don't know, but this is a huge problem. Only in the North Sea, they say there's over 20,000 nets, which have been accumulating over years. And the problem with those nets is that many of them are made of nylon 6, which is the best quality polymer you can get in the world. It means that those nets can be there for centuries, creating a lot of marine issues and problems. You will see that ECOALF, as years went by, we went more and more and more into the ocean. We believe our oceans are clean, but unfortunately, they're not. Unfortunately, the bottom of the oceans are much more dirty than we can imagine. And more or less, we could say that 75% of the waste is in the bottom of the ocean. It's not on the surface. This image, I always like to put it because it reminds me of a trip I went to India a few years ago, and I was going to see a natural dye factories, and unfortunately from Bangalore to that factory, it was like 4 or 5 hours by car, and left and right during the 4 or 5 hours, I was surrounded by waste. What happens with that waste? That waste happens that probably my grandson will see it, because that's not going to disappear. And unfortunately, it's even worse, because when people see waste, they think they can keep on throwing waste. So probably, I went there 4 years ago, probably the problem now is even worse. This is, I mean, I remember I received it from the European community, very angry, and they said, Javier, you speak very bad about plastic. I said, no, it's not true. In fact, I think plastic is an amazing material. It's an amazing material to do millions of things, no? If you want to do a window which has to last 300 years, perfect, you use PVC. Or if you have to put a prosthesis for your leg, which is a fantastic material, no? The problem is that we're taking the natural peeling of articles like the fruit to put them inside a plastic container. And this is hundreds of millions of containers every year, which we don't need, and which unfortunately finish. Many of those they're not supposed to finish. You see, it was one, which apparently in the Pacific say it's twice the size of Spain. Then it was 3, then it was 5, then it was 7. I don't know. I had the chance to see one in the Gulf of Thailand, the one you're seeing now in the image, which wasn't very big. It was like 6 miles by 4, but it was very impressive. Now the fishermen can tell you that they could see it for weeks and then they wouldn't see it for months. This one is quite unique because at the end of you can see it looks like a big carpet, no, where you could walk through. But normally the situation is not like this. Most of that plastic has converted into microplastic. And unfortunately, fish is eating that microplastic. This is the last study I had access to, 2018. It showed that 1/3 of the fish ready to be eaten in the UK had microplastic inside. To be honest, I don't think there's enough money in the world, enough technology to take that microplastic back from the ocean. We have a huge problem and keeps on getting worse day after day. Now, this is a very famous sentence now from Ellen MacArthur Foundation saying that there would probably be more plastic than fish in the ocean by 2050. I think there's already much more plastic. It depends what you call plastic. If you call it a plastic bottle, probably not. But if you call it a small piece, I'm sure there's much more small pieces of plastic than fish already in the ocean. How does that waste, because it's not only plastic, there's a lot of materials getting to the ocean. Well, unfortunately, a huge amount of that gets out through the rivers. There's only, 10 rivers in Southeast Asia, which they say that they are creating probably 80–90% of the pollution of the marine debris pollution in Southeast Asia. No? Unfortunately, we have given, these are rivers which go around Philippines, China, India, Thailand. They go through many villages. We've given them the containers, we've given them the bottles, but we haven't given them the truck to collect all those containers. So who's the waste truck? The rivers. They throw everything to the rivers. But we don't have to go to Southeast Asia. We can have it just in the Mediterranean. No? This is Sidon, 40 kilometers from Beirut, a place where they've been bombing for the last 50 years. And they've been putting all that waste near the ocean. All that waste comes into the Mediterranean. You see those two guys over there on top of 1.5 meters of waste. Or you can go in front of Sicilia, no? in Messina, no? Probably one of the biggest waste centers of the Mediterranean. No? Unfortunately, people who were supposed to be dealing with the waste in Italy for decades have been throwing everything there to the ocean, and you can find cars, you can find bicycles, you can find refrigerators, you can find absolutely incredible amount of waste, which has been dumped for decades without any control. Or this is happening in Hawaii, unfortunately, twice per month. Before, not so long ago, it used to happen once or twice per year. Now it's once or twice per month. Or you can go to Atlantic, and you have somebody who decided it was a great idea to dump this 7 kilometers long of used tires. No, probably they'll be there the rest of their life, no? Because I don't think nobody's going to take them out. Well, we can keep on talking about, unfortunately, there's millions of examples. And what the calculation is right now that we're dumping a truck of 16 tons of waste every minute into the ocean. So if I'm going to be talking here 20 minutes, well, probably 20 new trucks have been dumped into the ocean while we talk. While talking about ECOALF, ECOALF was born in 2009. It was born with the idea of creating a sustainable fashion company. I believe the most sustainable thing was to stop using natural resources. So recycling could be a solution. If we were able to make like this new generation of recycled products with the same quality and design as the best non-recycled. As you probably all know, I mean, fashion is a beautiful industry, but unfortunately the second most polluted industry in the world. And basically one of the main issues why it's polluting so much is because it's based on this business model, which hasn't been, which doesn't work, but has been managing the fashion business for many, many decades. It's about buying, throwing, a new trend every Thursday, discount, promotion, Black Friday. At the end, this is creating a huge amount of waste and billions of garments that go into landfill. There was this very sad article, no, a year ago in Ecotextiles News, no, showing the biggest cotton company in the world burning 4,000 acres of forest in Ethiopia to plant more cotton. So at the end, we're burning the forest to plant cotton, to make t-shirts of €5, which are landfill in less than 2 years. We're crazy. This system doesn't work anymore. There's not enough landfills. There's not enough water to make those t-shirts. There's not enough forest. And it's definitely not enough natural resources to keep on doing this, especially we're going to be 2 more billion people by 2050. No? So that's what we insist at ECOALF, no? That what you do is not enough anymore. I think how you do it is more and more important. And it was beautiful to see the artisans this last week. No, I always say that's the most sustainable article or products you can have in the world are the products made by the artisans. The product which you would heritage from your father and which probably he has heritage from his father. That's the most sustainable thing to do. No, I think we have to advocate for quality instead of quantity. I think we have to advocate for products which durability it's long, because at the end that's the biggest synonym of sustainability, no, durability. And I think it has to do a lot with quality instead of quantity. No? We know we are in very critical years. I think what we do in the next years, we believe is going to be very important. And that's why, I mean, this sentence may sound a bit strong, but we believe, no, that right now, if you're not trying to be part of the solution, I think you're being part of the problem. And we need to work all together. I think we always say at ECOALF, no, I think it's a very important moment where we have to go together. Companies, consumers, which at the end of the day, they have much more strength than they can imagine, people who legislate. I think it's the responsibility of all of us, no? And especially after what we've seen during the pandemic. I mean, at least in Spain, we saw it, no? We saw dolphins in the ports, we saw animals going down to the villages, we saw blue skies that we hadn't seen it for many, many years. And it's just because we left the planet alone for a few weeks, no, for a few months. No? So I think all of us, we need to work to redefine a new business model which works in, no, with the planet's in balance, with the planet's health and our current and future needs. No? I think we have a huge opportunity now and a huge responsibility, all of us, no, to redefine many things. At the end, as I said, the vision of ECOALF is about stop using natural resources in a careless way. And for that, we've been working for a decade now, trying to create this new generation of recycled products, where if I don't tell you it's recycled, you would never know. Basically, we recycle many materials, a lot of plastic bottles, which is polyester, a lot of discarded fishing nets, and other polyamide materials, not only fishing nets, used tires, post-consumer coffee, post-industrial cotton and wool and cashmere, many materials. I think over 450 different fabrics, many of those from plastic bottles. At the end of the day, polyester is something that is being used and we use a lot, probably more than 150, 170 fabrics made from 100% recycled plastic bottles. Normally, we say that we need around 50 plastic bottles for every yard of fabric we produce. This is not accurate. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. It depends on the weight. It depends on many things. But it was a way of making a sort of average. Nets, as I say, we only recycle the nets which are nylon 6. which is what we believe is the best quality polyamide you can get in the world. Basically, for you to get an idea, from virgin petrol to this fabric to make this garment, it would be 17 chemical steps. From an old fishing net to make this same fabric is 7 chemical steps. That's why we save so much water, energy, and emissions, because at the end of the day, we use half of the steps. We've been using this, especially for this new athleisure line, something we've been using a lot. Used tires, this was the first project we did in Spain. I contacted Cygnus, which was the company who is responsible for recycling all the used tires. My idea was to make the outsole, so the sneakers, but then finally we decided to do a joint venture. We started working with the Technological Center of the Shoemaking in the north of Spain in 2014. And finally, we launched this collection of flip-flops, which looks like a simple product, but it received a lot of innovation prizes. At the end of the day, we don't know why, but it works for us. Only one tire, which belongs to big lorries. I don't know if you've ever seen a wheel inside, no, but it's full of metal, oxidants, textiles. Well, we clean it up, we convert it into powder, and all the prices have been because we haven't used any conglomerates, no glues. Everything is done by heat. With coffee, we started working with a company in Taiwan in 2014. Basically, they collect the leftovers of the coffee every morning from big cafeteria groups like 7-Eleven. They convert it into powder, that humid compound. They mix it with polymers of plastic bottles. And it's fantastic because coffee has a lot of natural properties, which then you don't have to give through chemicals. No, it's fast drying, it's auto control, it's UV protection. So it's a material we're using a lot, especially for all the lining of our shoes right now, and for many, many fabrics. Cotton. Well, people are not aware, but cotton has a huge problem. It's too intensive in water. I don't know if you have had the opportunity to see the film, no, of Isabel Coixet about the RLC, no, when the Russians decided to give water to the cotton plantations in Kazakhstan. It's a desert right now. Unfortunately, this is a very short, uneven, unstable yarn, difficult to work with. And the material was very stiff. We had a lot of problems with clients. Client complained at the beginning. We made a huge mistake also.
Javier, we lost you. Sorry, we lost you there for a little bit. Go back to the RLC and Isabel.
Okay. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back now.
Fantastic. Sorry. Well, as I was saying, no, there's this film about the RLC made by Isabel Coixet. I don't know if you had the chance to see it, but it's very sad. No, when the Russians had to give water to the cotton plantations in Kazakhstan, it dried out in less than 2 years. It's a desert. Recycling cotton has been a personal obsession since 2014. We've invested a lot of resources, a lot of time. We had huge issues with productions when it was very stiff. Clients had a lot of issues, but now, luckily, after many years, I believe we have amazing qualities. Also, we made a very big mistake. I mean, we've made many mistakes along the way, but this was a big mistake because at the beginning, the first generation, we were making a yarn which was 50% recycled polyester mixed with 50% recycled cotton. And now I must say one of the biggest obsessions of the company for the last years is the end of life cycle of the product. So mixing polyester with cotton made it very complicated to recycle again all those t-shirts, which is one of our biggest goals of the company. So right now, we only mix the recycled cotton with organic cotton. So at the end, we can recycle those t-shirts or sweatshirts or polos again. Well, wool, we have been recycling wool for many, many years. In fact, one of the oldest industries. No, there's even cities in Italy like Prato, which are very famous for recycling wool, cashmere, etc. This is a new line, which we will come to the stores now in 2 months, which is a beautiful dream, which we did during the pandemic, which was a bit crazy because during the pandemic, we had the stores closed. All our clients had the stores closed. But I don't know, we thought it was the right moment to launch this brand, which I think is the result of 10 years of R&D. Here we want to take sustainability to the ultimate level where we can use the most sustainable fabrics, membranes, linings, We're launching now the first filament which doesn't throw any microplastic back to the system, which is something we have been working for long, which is fantastic. I think there's many new things in this collection which are going to be fantastic. Upcycling the oceans. This is very linked to what I just said, no? Because I mean, the fact of using this Nilstar filament, no, in this new collection, which doesn't throw microplastics back into the system, is fantastic, because one of our biggest concerns have been the ocean. This is our most ambitious project, Upcycling the Oceans, but we were feeling, okay, we're taking the waste out of the ocean, at the same time, we're throwing microplastic back into the system, which was something that really got us obsessed. Upcycling the Oceans is a project which started in 2015. It started thanks to 3 amazing fishermen in the east coast of Spain, in a little port called Villajoyosa, which let us put a little container in the boats, and all the waste that gets collected when they pull up the nets, instead of throwing it back to the ocean, they will put it in those containers and take it to the port. Now in the video, unfortunately, is very sad when you see how much waste gets collected in those nets mixed with the fish every single day. So we decided to start this project. To be honest, when we started, we didn't even know what's going to happen. We didn't know if the fishermen were going to want to collaborate. We didn't know how much waste we were going to take out. We didn't know we were able to do any yarn with that waste. We started, as I said, with 3 fishermen from that little port. Right now, it's over 3,000, 5,000 fishermen in Spain, and we're expanding to all the Mediterranean. We've already signed 16 ports in Greece. We've signed the first ones in Italy. We're signing now in France. Our goal is to work with over 10,000 fishermen by 2025 in what we think could be one of the biggest cleanup projects in the Mediterranean. Only in Spain, since 2015, we've nearly taken out 1,000 tons of waste from the bottom of the ocean. I must say, and this is something very important, that the fishermen do it with their heart. They don't get paid for this. It's amazing. When I started the project in 2015, there had been a pilot test in France, paid by the European government, which they were paying the fishermen for every kilo of waste they took from the bottom of the ocean. Unfortunately, it seemed like they caught some fishermen bringing waste from their houses, claiming it was from the ocean. The program stopped, the money stopped, the fishermen stopped. So when I started this project, I told the fishermen, look, I'm not going to pay you. This is up to you. You think the correct thing to do is to throw that waste back into the ocean, fish it back again tomorrow, throw it back again, and this, like the rest of your life, keep on doing it. If you think the correct thing to do and the responsible thing to do is to put that waste into a container and take it to the port, I will put a container in your boat and I will put containers in the ports. Right now in Spain, I think we're in 44 ports. And well, I remember, I spent like the first year going every Thursday to a different port, waiting for the fishermen to come fishing, them, inviting them to a beer, convincing them to start. And it was 3, 5, 50, 80, 100. Now it's over 3,000. We collect every week from the ports. We take it to 6 categorization plants in Spain. ECOEMBES came with us in 2017 as a partner to help us categorize all that waste. Right now, we're putting back into the system 68% of the waste we take out, all the aluminum, all the glass, all the polypropylene, all the PET, and there's like 32% which we're not able to bring back. It can be a shoe, it can be a piece of a cushion, or it can be something which is such in bad state it's impossible to use it again. And then we take the PET bottles and we convert them into flakes, pellet, yarn, fabric, and product in less than 200 kilometers. So at the end of the day, if we recycle the used styles in Spain, we make the flip-flop in Spain. We recycle the cotton in Portugal, we make the polo in the polo, the t-shirt in Portugal. Basically, as you can see, this is what we want to do, work in all the Mediterranean. I'm going to put a small video.
A strange and harmful species has colonized our oceans. Marine debris. Every year, more than 6 million tons of garbage is thrown into the sea, silently polluting every square meter of the ocean and killing even more marine species than climate change affects. If we continue polluting at this rate, the amount of debris in the ocean will duplicate in the next 10 years. We have to change the way we interact with nature and find solutions that ensure our planet's life expectancy. At ECOALF, we try to do things differently, which is the reason why we founded Upcycling the Oceans, a revolutionary project meant to be carried out also in other parts of the world. Its main goal? Collecting the trash that's destroying the Mediterranean Sea and turning it into top-quality thread. To do this, we're relying on years of intensive research and development, as well as the support of those that are more familiar with these waters, the fishermen of Levante. Together, we recover 1 ton of trash per day, giving plastic a second chance. Otherwise, it would continue to float in the ocean for an unimaginable amount of years, destroying our ecosystem. There's too much at stake to continue to stand by and do nothing about it. This is the reason why we created the ECOALF Foundation. Apart from cleaning marine debris, we also raise public awareness on the abuse of natural resources. We can't keep on living on this planet as if we had another one to go to.
Okay, now there's another short video which explains how we transform that waste into fabric, into yarn and fabric. And just to finish, I would like to put this video, which we just launched last week for the Oceans Day, well, 3 weeks ago, no? In June, which is it was something we wanted to do for the fishermen. It's for them, and it's a beautiful video because it's them talking and explaining how they see the situation in the oceans and what's going on. Okay, okay, no, it's after. Okay, I'll put it after because it's at the end. Well, basically, this is our claim because there's no Planet D, which is a claim which we started registering in 2014, and people have been, every time when they travel, they send us a lot of T-shirts and bags and different parts of the world with all the claim. Just before putting the video and just finishing up, we are very proud to say we were the first B Corp fashion company in Spain in 2018, which is an organization I'm very proud to be part of, and the first global recycle standard company in Spain, because for us, traceability and transparency is very important. So we need all our supply chain to be GRS certificate. And this is the video.
Aparatos del barco, hemos encontrado antenas, cañas de pescar, bicicletas, televisiones, botas, zapatos.
Ha una valigia piena di indumenti.
Un contenedor de basura.
Neveras, hidroaviones.
Lavadoras, grifos de cerveza.
Kilos y kilos y kilos de plásticos, botellas.
Ci sono qualsiasi cosa strana c'è anche a mare, purtroppo.
Millones de toneladas de basura se vierten cada año en los océanos. Desgraciadamente se están convirtiendo en grandes vertederos.
De todo venía en la red. Y a mí me llamaba mucho la atención las latas de cerveza. O sea, venían latas de cerveza de todos los países.
Cuando llueve todo eso va a parar a los cauces de los ríos y todo va al mar. Todo va al mar.
En el 2015 tuve la oportunidad de embarcarme en un barco de pesca arrastre y darme cuenta de la gravedad del problema. Fue a partir de ese impacto cuando decidimos crear la Fundación ECOALF y Upcycling the Oceans.
Salimos a coger pescado, no a coger basura, pero ya que la cogemos, pues la tiramos en tierra.
A los pescadores les pedimos que esa basura que se les queda atrapada en las redes la pongan en un contenedor y la bajen a tierra, donde tenemos instalados unos contenedores en los puertos que recogemos cada semana para llevar a categorizar.
Y que esa basura que estamos recogiendo tenga una nueva vida, que no tener que volver a tirar a la mar, como decía antes, y volver a empezar otra vez de cero.
Vemos que en los muelles vienen los camiones donde recogen estos contenedores, se los llevan y al final dices, pues mira, el esfuerzo que yo he hecho ha servido de algo.
Los objetivos de Upcycling the Oceans son 3. El primero, aportar nuestro granito de arena en la limpieza del océano.
A otros pescadores les diría que como mínimo la que quiten ya no está. No la quitaremos toda, seguramente, pero la que quitamos, esa ya no está.
Que no cuesta nada coger y ponerlo en una bolsa, llegar en un puerto y depositarlo en un container. Es un simple gesto.
El segundo, concienciar y sensibilizar y demostrar que una solución es posible. Hay que empezar a atacar el problema desde el origen.
El mar lo estamos contaminando todos, que la contaminación empieza desde casa.
Sin la ayuda de la ciudadanía, por mucho que los pescadores luchemos, pienso que no va a servir de nada.
Que sea responsable y que mire hacia il mar non solamente para bagnarsi, sino para cuidarlo.
Il progetto UTO credo che sia molto importante anche per sensibilizzare le persone che sono un po' all'infuori di questo mondo dei rifiuti e del bene che possiamo fare al mare.
Y el tercero, fomentar la economía circular y transmitir que la basura tiene un valor.
Si solamente nos limitamos en traer la porquería a puerto, estamos cojos.
Lo que el pescador nos costaba de entender, al menos a mi modo de ver, era recoger algo y que se quedara en el muelle. Y venías hoy y estaba otra vez en el muelle.
Necesitamos el siguiente eslabón, que es que alguien coja lo que nosotros traemos y recuperamos de la mar y seamos y estemos seguros de que eso no va a volver de ninguna forma otra vez a la mar. ¿Cómo? Reciclaje.
Lo que estamos es categorizando parte del residuo que sacamos para entender de una manera científica el origen de ese residuo y poder atacarlo desde el principio.
Realmente de dónde viene esa basura y para poder intentar evitar que esa basura llegue al final al mar.
Tras la experiencia de Upcycling the Oceans en España, lo que queremos es replicarlo a otras partes del mundo, porque desgraciadamente el problema de la basura marina es un problema global.
Η κατάσταση στη Μεσόγειο φυσικά και με ανησυχεί, γιατί είναι ένα επάγγελμα που έχουμε μεγαλώσει και έχουμε μεγαλώσει και τα παιδιά μας και δεν θέλουμε να σταματήσει ποτέ.
Me preocupa porque veo que hay mucha basura en el mar, que proviene no de la pesca como se pensaba que de los barcos pesqueros, sino de barcos de recreo y mucha basura que viene de tierra.
A mí me gustaría agradecer a los pescadores porque este proyecto lo hacen con el corazón, lo hacen porque creen que es lo correcto, lo hacen por su amor a los océanos. Creo que son un gran ejemplo para todos nosotros.
Y se va mentalizando la gente y yo pienso que llegará un momento en que esto se consiga algo.
Creo que hace falta que nos concienciemos todos y entre todos intentar que esto vaya mejor, ¿no?
E soprattutto ci dà un futuro a noi ragazzi giovani.
Que el día de mañana puedes decir, mira, yo he contribuido a limpiar este mar.
Si la gente pone un poco de su parte, el mar no tendría por qué sufrir lo que está sufriendo.
Entonces tenemos que ir trabajando ya.
Es un paso fácil a hacer.
Well, I love them. I cannot say anything else. I love these guys. Well, that's it for me. It's finished. Thank you very much, Philippe. Thank you very much, Lee, for the invitation to be part of this. Thank you very much, Kavita and all the team. And it's been a pleasure to be with all of you this morning. So,
thank you, Javier.